What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about SPY, the Nasdaq, the QQQ, and just a couple of stocks out there. I'm going to talk about what's going on with the debt ceiling and what to watch for the week, and why you have to watch these levels very carefully. Before I break anything down about all this information, though, before I talk about what you should be watching for tomorrow, let me just mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, whether it's $1 or $100, it's up to you. You are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $3,000. And the best part is, then it could be a free Tesla share. The offer ends in 2 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, guys, I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic Memorial Day weekend. I know it's a very important day, and I know a lot of you are spending time with people you love, but it's okay to also look at the markets well before the market opens just to get a good preparation for what's about to happen. Now, let me just mention that I'm going to keep this video very short because I'm going to be watching a movie like super soon, and I want to just quickly do this. I want to talk about SPY, QQQ, and Tesla primarily, and just briefly talk about a couple of others. Let me just mention that some earnings are coming out over the next couple of days, from HP to U-Haul and just a couple of others. For Wednesday, we have Chewy, also a couple of Chinese companies, and then we have Dell for Thursday, which is going to be the biggest one in my opinion, alongside like Macy's for retail. But that's about it from the earnings side, nothing too huge. For Tuesday, we have the consumer confidence and Dallas Fed manufacturing index data. So around 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time to about 10:30 a.m. expect lots of volatility. So for the first hour of the day, every 30 minutes, expect lots of volatility based off the consumer confidence reports and the manufacturing data. Between Wednesday and Friday, we have lots of employment and unemployment data. We have the job openings, the JOLTS job quits too for Wednesday. For Thursday, we have initial jobless claims and manufacturing data with crude oil data. And finally, for Friday, we have the unemployment rate coming out, which is going to be very important for the Fed's policies. For the debt ceiling, the news came out that Biden and McCarthy have come up with a tentative U.S. debt ceiling deal. That was great news. But the question now comes, will the market pump more? I think the odds do favor that, but I'm always going to be open-minded. Or will the market end up getting a sell-off? Because this could also be a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event. Both of them are very possible as the market slammed into resistance and kind of stopped there. So I'm going to be talking about the key levels to watch for, because that's going to help you understand what the market's going to do. I also want to add that there is a bearish catalyst that you could argue is possible now, because technically, because of this, because of the treasury issuance that's going to be increasing, the Fed could become more hawkish now because of the debt ceiling situation. It's a possibility, especially considering that inflation will likely continue to go up. The odds favor that. I'm not guaranteeing it, but the odds are favoring that, as the PCE report that came out was a little bit hot, right? So I'd be very careful, right? And this is the reason why I'm not going to give you guys like a super stern prediction like I did a couple of days ago. And I will continue to give you guys predictions, of course, when I'm a lot more confident. But for now, I'm not super confident in either direction. I am leaning a little bit more bullish, but I don't know for sure. And that's why you have to watch key levels to get confirmation. SPY has resistance at 420 to 421. Okay? If it breaks and holds 421, that's going to be a very good sign, and this thing will have the potential to fly to 425 to 426. That's going to be the next major resistance, strong resistance if it does break 421. Seeing that we're currently at about a little bit above 420, it's going to depend on how we open up in the pre-market. If we fail to break 421, the market starts selling off, the bears are going to be watching 417.5 to 418. If it fails to hold that zone, it's going to come all the way down to where this imbalance is around 415. And if that fails us, then there's going to be 412, then about 410 to 409 between there. But the very important support has to be 417.5 to 418. So watch that carefully. For resistance, once again, 421. If we break that, we could fly a lot more. So I'm very open-minded. I think it's very possible for the market to pump even more. But once again, technicals are not everything right now. They're not everything. The reactions to the news and how algos will respond to that is going to be more important. Break key support, algos could start selling more. Break key resistance, algos could start buying more. That's why you have to watch these levels carefully. As far as Tesla goes, if we're bullish, well, we have to first break 195 again. If it does break it, 198 to 200 is major resistance. We need to break that to turn very, very bullish on Tesla, extremely bullish. For now, it failed to break 200. If it manages to break 198 to 200, and that's, by the way, where the daily 200 moving average and daily 200 EMA happen to be at both of those levels, 198 to 200. Break 200, Tesla's going to fly to 205 to 207. That's a very nice move. A lot of money could be made on that. If it fails to break 200 and hold it nicely, so when I say break and hold, I mean a very strong break and lots of confidence above it, not just like us like temporarily breaking it and just coming right back down after like a few minutes or like an hour. That's not what I'm referring to. That's what I talk about. That's what I'm talking about when I say a break. Now, if Tesla fails to do that, let's just say hypothetically Tesla fails and it comes all the way down to 192. Okay, you have to watch this level very carefully, because then if 192 fails, there's going to be a 190 test. And 190 is going to be extremely important because this is where we got our breakout from. Tesla needs to hold 190. If it fails to hold 190, the algos are going to try to sell a little bit more, and Tesla's going to retest 187, then potentially the mid 180s, which is where we have this imbalance around the 184s. So if 190 fails, the odds favor Tesla coming down to the mid 180s, 184 to 185. If Tesla manages to hold above 192 and it just keeps going and it breaks 195, then we're going to be watching this supply zone, 198 to 200. Break that and it's going to fly into the 200s. So watch this zone and watch the zone around 190 very carefully for tomorrow. For the QQQ, if we're bullish, the QQQ needs to break 350. If it breaks 350, it's going to fly all the way up to about 355 or get closer to that. Now, let's just say something bad happens because the QQQ has an RSI at 82. It's very overextended. So what I would do is I just wait and see how it reacts. I personally think the odds favor that the QQQ is a little bit overextended and it may have to cool off because of this. But I'm not guaranteeing it because you have to remember what happened to Nvda. It just kept going. It kept going and going and going. It didn't care. And that's why you have to be open-minded. That's the reason why I'm talking about these levels. Let's say hypothetically the QQQ ends up failing to break 350 and it rejects. What if that happens? Then what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be watching the mid 340s because we have very important support at 345.25. That's where we got this breakout from. It has to hold that for there to be more of an advantage for the bulls. If it fails to hold the 345 zone, if it fails there, it's going to come all the way down to this imbalance zone around 340 flat. 338 to 340 is where we have this demand zone. It's going to test this if 345 fails. So that's why you have to watch these levels super, super carefully. Okay? So 345 support, 350 resistance. Either way, there's going to be a big move coming. Last but not least, I'm just going to talk very briefly about a couple of other things. The dollar is like very overextended. That tends to not be a very, very good sign for the markets. As the dollar breaks out, that tends to cause the market to pull back. For Aapl, resistance is going to be at 175 to 176. Break that, then we're going to see 177.5. Break that, then 180 could come. But if Aapl rejects, and that is still very possible too, if Aapl rejects, watch 175. If it fails to hold 175, and then we're going to retest 174.8. If that fails too, then it's going to come all the way down to where this resistance was in the 173 area, very close to where the 50 EMA happens to be. So a 50 EMA test will likely result in this thing coming all the way down to the 173s. And if that fails us, I mean, that's very close to where this imbalance is. Then we have 172.5 followed by 170 flat. If 172.5 fails, we're likely going to see 170. So I'm going to watch these levels carefully. But the most important level for now is 175 to 174.8. How does Aapl respond to that zone? How does Aapl respond? Does it continue going? Does it break 176? Or does Aapl get rejected and start cooling off. That's going to be very impactful for the whole markets. For Nvidia, I've been saying that this thing is likely just going to continue to range trade a bit before more upside later on, more later going down the road. But for now, Nvidia, it's just holding up okay. If it fails at around 385, we're going to retest 380, around this 380 zone, which is where our 0.618 retracement is at 181.56, very close to about, did I say 181? I meant 381.56, followed by 380. And if that fails us, then there's going to be 375. If we're bullish on Nvidia, you're going to be wanting to see if it could break 392. If it does do that, we're going to see 395 likely get retested. But for now, I'd rather just be open-minded and see how this reacts to the debt ceiling. It's very important to be open-minded, to be very careful. You never know sometimes. I mean, the news right now is what's dictating the markets. Technicals are not everything for now. And that's why you have to be open-minded. For Meta, to turn bullish, I mean, 264 was tested. We're currently at like 262. We're actually very close to 264 again. To turn bullish on Meta, you have to see it break and hold 265. If it does that, 270, then 275 could come. If it fails to do so, because it is a little overextended, it could cool off a bit first before continuing. Major support is going to be around 260, then 256 around there. 256 fails Meta. It's going to come all the way down to this imbalance zone at 252, followed by 250. And it could even go lower depending on how that perpetuates. I'm anticipating a bit of a pullback for it before it continues to push higher, but I don't think Meta's done pumping. It's very, very strong and has a very nice setup. But anyways, guys, that's what I have for this video. So I want to thank you all for listening. Have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. And don't forget about the Webull link. Only 2 days are left. Okay? I'm sorry I can't always give you guys like very confident predictions. I'm a human too. I'm not like a fortune teller. And the best thing I'm going to be doing personally is just being patient. I have sold all my positions on my trading accounts, just my trading accounts. I'm just going to wait and see how this goes. I'm going to be watching support and resistance, and I'm going to be very patient because, once again, the debt ceiling situation is very hard to predict because there are different interpretations of it. You could interpret this as a buy the rumor, sell the news event that could cause the market to pull back first. And if that happens, watch the support zones I just mentioned. If the market continues to pump like it did at the end of last week, right, that's also a possibility. We could keep going to higher levels. And I mentioned the higher levels and what resistance levels to watch for, from SPY to the QQQ to Tesla and beyond. Okay, that's what I have for this one. Let's just wait and see. It'll be much easier to like anticipate what the market's going to do once we see the levels. But for now, just watch these levels once we see how the market reacts to them and be very patient. Patience is key in this game. And always remember, you are battling not the markets, right? Not the news, but your own self when you are trading. It's a battle between you and your own self. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Enjoy Memorial Day. Have a great weekend, everyone. I have to go watch a movie like right now. Thank you. Market to the moon as the long term is very bright. And peace out.